Wells High English instructor stated that the night is a wonderful way to recognize the writing of Wells students and adults. Earlier this week, Mickey Barrows had a chance to talk to Jeff Shaw and Krista Ellis, the two award winners.
Congratulations to both of you. Jeff, what piece of work did you submit to the art contest?
It's called Addicted to Chapstick.
Can you please explain what this piece is about?
Well, it's more or less an autobiography. I use an awful lot of chapstick, and I kind of put it into a story.
Do you have any plans for your $500 award?
Yeah, I was thinking of starting a foundation for unwed mothers right here in Wells.
Sounds nice. Krista, how did you feel when you won the $100 award for the junior class?
Well, I was honored. I really don't know what to say about it. It was nice to win.
Are you planning on entering next year?
Yeah, of course, the stakes are a little higher, so kind of be a fool not to.
Great. Well, congratulations again. I'm Mickey Barrows. Now back to the studio.
The Wells High expansion program will get underway shortly after the close of school in June. The high school project will add a third floor to the classroom wing of the present building and expand the cafeteria and library areas. Other space will be gained by interior renovation. According to CSD business manager William Dion, final drawings were to be submitted to the school committee at its May 4th meeting. Bidding for the building contract is scheduled for May 12th, with the school committee awarding a contract on June 1st. Michelle?
In music news, comedy and singing with a touch of cabaret atmosphere will be featured at the second annual Warrior Review, scheduled for Wednesday, June 1st. This variety show, which was a big hit among the community last year, crowding over 100 people into the WHS cafeteria, and standing room was only available. Once again, Larry Downing will be hosting this event with the WHS stage band backing him up. Downing hopes for a smoother running show with a definite stage crew. He also hopes this to be a traditional variety show where people can enjoy themselves. Saying something is very easy to do, but backing it up can be a different story. This is what the Wells Police Department is finding out as they try to set a policy for enforcing last year's court ruling on Moody Beach. In September of 1987, a Supreme Court ruling stated that the 1-mile stretch of beach was private except for the use of fishing, fouling, or navigation as stated in a 1684 colonial ordinance. Wells Police Chief William Zacular questions this. Does that mean that anyone with a fishing pole, shotgun, or sextant should be allowed on the beach, he wondered? The police are currently in the process of determining what types of trespassing calls they will be answering this summer. And Moody Beach residents are pleased that the police are planning on enforcing the ruling. Brian?
It seems today that just about everything causes cancer. Joining that list is the hazardous material, asbestos. The survey to locate building material containing asbestos is in operation. The search, which began May 2nd, is concentrated in Wells and Agunquit schools. Balsam Environmental Consultants Incorporated is completing the work as a part of a $6 million bond issue passed last November. The reason for the search is to bring local schools into compliance with the Federal Asbestos Hazard Emergency Response Act. The public may review the search plan in the superintendent's office. Parents and school personnel will be informed of the survey's results. Moving on to elementary news, if you have a child who will be 5 on or before October 15th and missed kindergarten registration, don't worry. It's not too late to register your child. Just contact the Wells Elementary School as soon as possible. On Tuesday, May 17th, Wells Elementary School will be holding a preschool screening clinic from 8:30 to 3 p.m. This clinic is sponsored by the York County Preschool Service. This program is to help identify children who may have special needs. Contact Wells Elementary School for more information. Michelle?
From elementary level to high school level, finally, after 4 years of hard work, the honors graduates will be recognized on May 18th at an honors banquet. The event is scheduled at 6:30 in the high school cafeteria. The evening will be a celebration where the graduates can bring any family or friends they would like to present. Honors graduates can also invite a faculty member or a friend who has been important to their education at Wells High. Get your t-shirts here. Celebration of Life 88 is a slogan, and Students Against Drinking and Driving is the cause. During any lunch period this week, you can purchase a t-shirt, buy a shirt, and support the Wells SAD organization. Also, the SAD organization will be handing out this book to all graduating seniors. What's happening at Algonquin Village School? It's Marine Month, and wait till you hear what they have in store for their students. On Friday, May 13th, a guest speaker from the Maine Aquarium will be talking to the kids about ocean life. All during this week, with weather permitting, the kids will be taking trips to the beach, the marshes, and Marginal Away and hope to encounter some marine life. On Wednesday, May 18th, Mr. and Mrs. Fish will be performing informational but enjoyable skits about marine life for the kids. On Tuesday, May 31st, Peter Dumont from the Department of Marine Resources Program in Augusta will speak to their students about small marine animals. During the week, OVS will be holding a mini science fair dealing with marine life. Then, to wrap up the month, the school is holding a marine assembly on Tuesday, June 2nd. The school is not the only organization to plan and organize the fun for this month. The Algonquin PATT has played a big role in it. They have just finished making blank hardcover books for the students so they can keep a log of what they learn about marine life. In addition to this, the PATT bought t-shirts for all the students, and with the help of Mrs. Noble, the art teacher, the PATT and the students worked together and silk-screened a marine life emblem on all the shirts. In other PATT news, the Algonquin PATT will be holding an ice cream social on May 11th downstairs in the Dunaway Center. It will be held from 6 to 7, and you can make your own sundae. The cost will be $1.50 for adults and $1 for students grades K through 5. Preschool will be 50 cents, and any refills will be also 50 cents. Come and enjoy a delicious ice cream sundae the way you like it. And now to this week's feature with Chris Decatur and Chris Rand.
Would you know what to do if someone was choking or while walking down the street collapsed in front of you?
With summer coming and with the increasing amount of tourism, now is as good of a time as any to find out what to do.
Earlier this week, Mrs. Pauline Juneau's health classes had a chance to speak with EMTs, emergency medical technicians of the Wells Beach Fire Department, on the proper use of first aid. Here, they were instructed on many first aid basics. As you see here, the Heimlich maneuver, which is being applied, is used to stop someone from choking. Here, they are learning one of the most important first aid techniques, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR. Masked, medical anti-shock trousers being applied here are for the treatment of shock and severe trauma. Following the classroom demonstrations, the students took a first-hand look inside an emergency vehicle. Wells is serviced by 3 of these emergency vehicles. I'm sitting here with junior Brian Fox. Brian, did you learn a lot in today's seminar?
Yeah, I sure did.
What'd you think about it?
It was good.
Did you like the demonstrations that they gave in there?
Yeah, with the dummy and that they used.
How'd you like the looking inside the ambulance here?
It's big.
It's big?
Yeah.
Did you like the lights?
Yeah, they flash.
You wouldn't want to ride in this, would you?
No, I wouldn't want to ride in this.
If you were riding it, you probably would have gotten into an accident or something, right?
Right.
Wouldn't want that.
Wouldn't want that to happen to me.
That's right.
That's right.
I'm here with health teacher, Mrs. Pauline Juneau. Mrs. Juneau, how long have you been doing this program?
This is the second year.
What were your reasons for starting this program?
Well, because I think it's very important for all the students to be exposed to what happens in an ambulance. Perhaps they can volunteer. There's, especially in this area where a lot of the ambulance services are volunteer, it's real important to get kids started at a young age.
Do you feel that this program is going to be successful in maybe helping some of these students become volunteer people?
I think it gives them a first-hand experience, gives them a chance to talk to people who are EMTs, and yeah, I hope so.
Well, I hope so too.
Now that we've taken a look at some general first aid and a look inside an emergency vehicle,
It's time to ask yourself, how much first aid do you really know? Remember, it's better to know it and not need it than to need it and not know it. Let's hope we don't see you in this.
Good evening, and welcome to Wells High FYI Sports. I'm Michelle Boudreau.
And I'm Karen Perkins. A big congratulations goes out to Wells High's Scott Fortuna, who is a proud recipient of a 1988 Scholar Athlete Award. Fortuna was recognized by the Maine Sports Hall of Fame along with 9 other high school students across the state. Fortuna is a 3-sport athlete. This year in football, he won the Campbell Trophy Award. And in wrestling this year, he was a state runner-up in his weight class. And he's a 2-year starter on the varsity baseball team. Fortuna intends to put his $1,500 award towards his education at Syracuse University, where he will be a freshman next year. Recently, Rob Pickett was able to talk with Scott about this prestigious award.
Scott, how did you apply for this award?
Well, I didn't even really know about it until Mr. Ryan told me. He nominated me for it and had me just fill out the paperwork, you know, my qualifications and stuff, and he really did the bulk of the work. He got all the recommendations for me that I needed, you know, from Coach McDonough, and he typed it all up for me and sent it in.
And when did you find out about this, and how did it make you feel when you did find out?
I found out about it a couple days ago. I had mail in the office, and I went in, and Mr. Ryan gave me the letter, and he took me into his office and gave me his lucky letter opener that he says never fails. So I opened it up, and I read it, and I was just, you know, ecstatic and jumping around the AD's office looking like a monkey.
What was in this letter that made you so excited? What was the award?
Well, I'll be inducted into the Maine Sports Hall of Fame on June 5th, and I also got a $1,500 scholarship.
Is there anybody I'd like to thank at this point?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Mr. Ryan for all his help. I wouldn't have even known about this if it wasn't for him. And I'd like to thank Coach McDonough for all he's done and his recommendation and stuff, and my offensive line, too.
Well, congratulations, Scott. Nice job.
Thanks.
Now back to the studios.
Thanks, Rob. The Wells Junior High spring athletic schedule kicked into action on Thursday, May 5th, when the softball and baseball teams hosted the Bonnie Eagle Scots on the new Vander Forbes field. Under direction of girls coach Vicki Aldridge and boys coach David Chadbourne, both teams started off the season on the right foot with 2 decisive victories. The girls 15-9 and the boys 12-8. The boys then hosted Berwick Academy on Friday, May 6th, when they put another victory under their belts with a score of 18-5. Both teams will travel to Noble on May 10th, and then they will move to Kennebunk on May 12th. In addition to the baseball and softball programs at Wells Junior High, a newly organized track and field program is underway. Under the direction of physical education instructor Kathy Kalo and science teacher John Keene, the program has become very popular with a large turnout. The athletes work on the basics and fundamentals of track and field with the high school track team. Here they can watch older and more experienced athletes practice with some help from the high school's coaches as well. The junior high has scheduled 2 meets for this season. The first is scheduled for June 2nd at Kennebunk. The second meet is scheduled for June 7th, where they will host Noble and Kennebunk. Karen?
Thank you, Michelle. With the month of May here, we are now in the heart of track season. The Wells High School Lady Tracksters are pounding the season away on the Forbes field. Rob Pickett caught up with a track member, Leah DeBody, and had a chance to discuss the season.
Leah, how's track season been going?
It's been going all right. We've had some ups and downs. We've had 3 meets so far, and we haven't been doing the best that we've ever done, but we're doing all right.
Have there been any standout athletes on the team?
Jen Flagg and Betsy Kelly have been doing excellent as hurdlers. The relay team, we have a time that we can work with. It's not the greatest, but we're working on it, and the weight people have done an excellent job this year.
You've talked about your fellow teammates now. How about personally? How are you doing?
Well, at the beginning of the season, I came in late because of the play, and I had shin splints right off the bat, but now I'm starting to work out more slowly and concentrating mainly on the 100-meter and the relay.
The team's gotten off to a slow start. How about the further on in the season?
Well, we've had 3 meets. We have 2 more, but hopefully we're concentrating on the league meets and state meets, and that we can make a challenge to the other teams there.
Well, thanks a lot, Leah. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Now we'll take you back to the studio.
Thanks, Rob. In other track news, what's happening on Forbes Field? Last Tuesday, the Warrior track team hosted Kennebunk and Falmouth. Kennebunk, a usual track power, ran away with the meet, while Falmouth nipped Wells for second place. On the mound, received his second win for the season. Cloutier pitched a solid game, striking out 4 and walking none. The Warriors were sparked by the offense of Eric Belisle, 3 for 4 at the plate, and Rick Huff, who hit a bases-loaded single to win the game. The last inning rally started out with a single by Belisle, followed by Rob Pickett, who reached first on an error, which brought Belisle safe at second. With men on first and second, Cloutier walked to load the bases. Paul Colarossi hit to Rams shortstop David Seward, who could not make the play at home. With the game tied at 5 and bases loaded, Huff hit the long ball, which allowed Pickett to score easily. Michelle?
The Wells Warrior varsity baseball team tallied their 3rd win against the Freiburg Raiders on Monday, May 9th. No runs were scored until the 4th inning. However, Wells was in control throughout the course of the game. The Warriors loaded the bases twice in the middle innings, as they were all over the Freiburg pitching staff. This continued intensity led them to the final score of 5-3. Junior Tim Park, with his first start of the year, pitched a spectacular game, with Chris Decatur coming in to shut the door in the last inning. That's all for tonight. This has been Michelle Boudreau
and Karen Perkins. We'll now go to this week's editorial with Tiffany Nelson.
Good evening. My comments in tonight's editorial pertain especially to those students attending the Wells High Junior-Senior Prom. This year's prom is only 2 days away, and although you'll be busy getting ready for it, there are a few important facts that you should be thinking about. Every year, many teenagers are killed or seriously injured in car accidents on their prom night. Many times, the cause of the accident is alcohol. Although an after-prom party is held for the safety and enjoyment of prom-goers, alcohol almost always seems to find its way into the festivities. For some strange reason, teenagers feel they need alcohol to continue the fun. They believe they can't have fun without a drink. This myth is largely exaggerated. Alcohol only eventually ruins a good time. Wouldn't a hangover or even possibly a fatal accident ruin your prom night? Wouldn't you want to be able to remember your prom and actually live through it? And why ruin it for others by drinking? Alcohol can't make your prom special. The decision is yours. Don't be pressured. And if you do drink, please don't drive. And don't ride with anyone who has been drinking. Make it a night to remember. Thank you.
The following editorial is not the opinions of the station or the Wells High FYI news staff. 40 Wells High students have returned from a 4-day whirling visit to Washington, D.C., New York, and Philadelphia. The crusade of 30 sophomores, 10 juniors, along with 3 chaperones, left Wells early Saturday morning, April 14th. Their first pit stop was Washington, where they saw all the illuminated monuments and landmarks. They also visited the Smithsonian Institute and other buildings on the Central Mall and Senator Cohen. While in Philadelphia, the students took a 2-hour tour of Independence Hall and historic areas surrounding it, and then it was off to New York. While in New York, they visited the Statue of Liberty and Wall Street area. The fast-paced trip wound up with a ride home on Wednesday, April 27th. Wells High social studies teacher Corey Thing was a sponsor of the trip, with parents Nancy Townsend and Kathy Chase accompanying as chaperones. The tour was organized by the Council on World Affairs, which also provided a tour guide. Michelle?
It seems as though April has been a month for travel. They're back. Yes, the WHS Music Department is back from the city of brotherly love, scenic Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. As mentioned before in a previous story, the band had the chance to visit the Girard Academic Music High School, or better known as GAMP. Being in the city was completely out of the band's element, but there were no problems. According to band director Larry Downing and choral director Vicki Patch, it was a well-put-together program. The exchange concert went smoothly, and the overall trip was greater than their expectations. The two bands had totally different backgrounds, which gave them both a chance to share their weaknesses and strengths, and to appreciate each other's abilities. Not only did the band visit Girard, but they also had a chance to visit some historical sites, such as the U.S. Mint and Independence Hall. Earlier this week, Mickey Barrows had a chance to talk to Mark Harnum and Lucian Harton, two Philly participants. Mickey?
Mark, how were you greeted in Philadelphia from the personnel?
I felt as though they were a little reluctant to have us because we were from such a far place, Maine. They were like, they didn't know how to feel around us, and I guess we didn't know really how to feel around them, so it was kind of both ways.
Lucian, how did the band perform Saturday night?
The band performed very well. We think that we did the best job that we have done all year.
How about the chorus?
That also goes both ways. The chorus did the best they did all year. Miss Patch had very good feelings about that.
Great. Was the atmosphere what you expected in Philadelphia?
Well, I think anybody going from a small town to a big town expects, something a little bit more fast-paced. And I felt as though, I expected it, but it was great because it was kind of culture shock, too, because you go there and you're not expecting it, but you are, and I don't know, yeah.
Lucian, did you have a chance to do some sightseeing while you were in town?
Yes, we got to see a lot of things, as in the the Liberty Bell and the Franklin Institute and the coinage where they made coins, and the Philadelphia Zoo.
Great. Now, for the question we've all been waiting for, how are the Philadelphia cheesesteak hoagies? Anybody want to?
They were very good.
Well, that's right. You heard it here, folks. This is Mickey Barrows reporting for Wells High FYI. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Mickey. The Wells Algonquin Adult Education Program will hold its 6th annual appreciation dinner for all the people who have made a difference in the adult program this year. The dinner will be held in the Wells High School dining room on May 16th at 5:30 p.m. Those invited are allowed to bring guests. This is just another way the Adult Ed Office shows that the efforts of those who work in the program do not go unrecognized. Ask and thou shalt receive. Luckily for the Wells Algonquin Community School District, that was the philosophy of area residents on May 5th when they voted on the school budget. The budget is 9.4% bigger than last year's, with negotiated salaries and an incentive plan responsible for 5% of this increase. This year's budget totals $7,166,566, of which $6,546,267 must be raised locally. The school committee voted to honor Mrs. Dorothy Evans by naming the new Wells High School Library Media Center after her. The decision was made at a school committee meeting on Wednesday, May 4th. In other school news, the 6th graders at Wells are busy preparing for the long week Stone Environmental School trip. After many weeks of fundraising to help pay for the cost of the trip, the 6th graders will be leaving on the morning of May 16th and will be returning on the afternoon of Friday, May 20th. The Stone Environmental School is located in Ocean Park, Maine. The kids will be staying in dormitories for a week and will be studying nature throughout that week. The trip gives the students a chance to get away from home, and it also brings the class closer together. How can you save an estuary? Ludlam Trust has announced a drive to raise $3.3 million to do just that. Bruce Burgeon and Jim Forrest are co-chairmen of the effort. The money will be raised to restore buildings, develop a visitor center and trail system for school groups and casual visitors, and build a laboratory to research the marshland and northern estuaries. Initial contributions have lowered the target figure to about $1.5 million. Contributions may be sent to Ludholm Trust, P.O. Box 1007, Wells 04090. Rob Sullivan had a chance to speak with the Executive Vice President of Ludholm Trust, Martha, earlier this week about the fundraising of the Restoration Drive. Rob?
Good evening. I'm here with Mort Mather, who's the president of Ludholm Trust. Mr. Mather, how are you planning to raise the $3.3 million to restore Ludholm?
Well, that's just by a lot of hard work. We have a lot of volunteers who are going to be going out, and it's just work in the trenches, one-on-one. People approaching other people and getting as much publicity, and you're helping out a little bit with that right now. We're also working on several foundation proposals, and we have a committee working on corporations. We hope to leave no stone unturned. We also have a couple events we're doing up here. This spring, June 18th, we're going to have a barn dance, an old-fashioned barn dance and bean supper, and hay rides behind a horse-drawn wagon, which ought to be fun. And in September, we're going to have a crafts festival up here. We have some really very talented artisans who are coming for that. So those are any way that we can find it, we'll be going after it.
Okay, what would this money mean to Ludholm?
Well, we raised $3 million for the purchase of this property, and as you can see, the house behind us needs a lot of work, and as a matter of fact, we are about to sign a contract with contractors to have that done. It's going to be over $500,000 just to work on the house alone, and that's what we're doing is establishing the first National Estuarine Research Reserve in northern New England. We have 7 miles of trails here now that aren't totally ready to be open for the public. That's more trails than any place else on the coast of Maine south of Acadia National Park. So I think we're providing a wonderful facility for not only people here in Wells, but for a very wide audience. And when you say, where are we looking for the money, we're looking fairly widely too. There's no place in the country that we won't accept money from.
Okay, how close are you to your goal right now?
We need, for the development phase, $3.3 million. And we are just about halfway there. We have raised $1.45 million, I think.
All right, well, thank you very much, and good night back to the studio.
Thank you, Rob. Are you superstitious? Does Friday the 13th make you want to hide inside for the day? Obviously, students at Wells High have shed the old myth and are venturing out on Friday, May 13th. It's the night of the 1988 Junior-Senior Prom. This year's prom, with the theme Times to Remember, will be held at the Shaman Inn in Kennebunkport from 8 o'clock. Entertainment and dune prizes available for all WHS students. At approximately 9:30, the party will be kicked off. Although there are not any set curfews for the party, students are advised to meet their parents' curfew requests. Also, students who plan on inviting guests must register in the office prior to the party. And for all you who are discouraged by the cold weather, never fear, because there will be a bonfire. This has been Michelle Cleveland
and Brian Bush for Wells High FYI. Thank you for joining us.
Good night.